I still am so pissed off at myself and every one of my family members, friends, real estate agents. I'm still mad at all my lender friends. I'm still mad at all of them for not really helping me understand real estate finance.
What's going on, everybody? Avi back for another episode of Financial Freedom in 15. I could not be more stoked. I say that every time, but this one, I mean it, because I'm with my coach, Patrick Ferry. Patrick has coached me now. I feel like we're coming up on 2+ years. And when I met Patrick, I hadn't sold one home in real estate. I was draining my savings. I was basically about to be left on the street, and Patrick helped me go from that to where I'm at now. Just bought my first income property, and I have a lot of gratitude to owe to Patrick. But thanks for jumping on, brother.
Rock and roll.
So Patrick's a legend in the real estate and real estate coaching space. But what I wanted to do, Pat, is take us back. Tell me, if you were to go back to your 26-year-old self, that's how old I am, what advice would you give yourself? Obviously, you're a sound real estate investor now, but if you could talk to young Patrick, what would you tell him, and what advice would you give him, basically?
Yeah, no, that's the brilliant question. So let's take a look at this. And it's similar to the same advice that I was giving you early on, not as a real estate salesperson, but also as a real estate investor or a budding real estate investor. And so the first thing is learn real estate finance and understand the numbers, right? Understand the numbers. I wish someone would have just sat me down and said, let's go through the numbers and let's just talk about it and figure out exactly how this stuff works. And no one did. And I know when we looked at the numbers together, you and I forced you to go, okay, well, how much would it be per month? And how much money would we have to have down? And how much would you have to buy it? What can we actually get it for rent? And how would these numbers actually play out? And the moment you saw the true numbers, you're like, oh, I can do that. And here we are. And you've got your first Airbnb. And when I asked you immediately after you bought the Airbnb, tell me about the numbers, you were like, here's the numbers and here's the cash flow. And that's the thing that I wish someone would have done for me, is just sit me down, help me see the true reality of the numbers. And then also understand real estate finance. How does real estate finance work? I still am so pissed off at myself and every one of my family members, friends, real estate agents. I'm still mad at all my lender friends. I'm still mad at all of them for not really helping me understand real estate finance. What a disaster that is. And so for all my friends out there, not understanding how real estate finance works, whether or not on the investment side, on the personal side, all the different loan types, all the different institutions, right? Understanding, I wish someone would have smacked me around and said, dude, if you can demonstrate that you are financially responsible and you save and create asset, and you have nice savings and you demonstrate that you're financially responsible, there are a million lending institutions that will give you a ton of money for really low costs and for really low rates. And you can take that money and you can go run investments and actually have the investment pay for your loan, just because you demonstrated that you are financially responsible and that you had savings and assets so that you are low risk out there to the lending world. And if someone would have just beat me up in my 20s to help me understand that, I would be in a completely different financial position today. And so these are it's like, wow. And then let's add one more, right? Because I'm on a roll, is multifamily, right? I remember thinking about buying a condo in my 20s. I was making pretty good money and I was cool and fancy. I'm in Newport Beach and I'm like, I'm not going to buy a condo over there, right? Because I was, a snobby dork, broke, spending all my money on bottle service and girls and cars and clothes and stupidity, right? But if someone would have been like, yo, dude, your ego's monstrous. You think that you're a celebrity and you're not. So why don't we do this? Why don't we look at a duplex, a triplex, a fourplex? And you've got these people called parents, and go get a little bit of money from them and go find a duplex, triplex, fourplex. And there's this thing called house hacking. So you not only got a duplex and you rented that other side out, but in the duplex, maybe you got a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom if you're really good, then just rent out the other 2 rooms of yours. And now you live for free, you dipshit. Wait a minute, I live for free? Wow. And I probably could have done that in this really shitty town called Costa Mesa, which if I would have done that 20 years ago in my 20s, the value of that duplex today would, 20 years, it might probably even be close to paid off at this point. Wow, it'd be paid off right now. And 20 years ago, the duplex, triplex, and fourplex in that kind of shitty town called Costa Mesa back then, what would it be worth today? I'm still pissed off that no one explained this stuff to me. Still,
I love it.
I'm so irritated, right?
That's why Patrick is the man. Look at the passion I feel like that you bring, and you
Man.
get to teach all of us young agents. You have a lot of younger agent coaching clients, and you're not letting us make the same mistakes that you made at BS. And for all the people watching out there, if you're not a realtor or real estate professional, where do you turn for this advice? Do you go to Zillow? Who do you turn to?
Yeah, that's a great question. So let's talk about this. So there's the local guys in your consult, find the real estate agent in your community like an Avi, who actually is in the game, just bought his first investment property, could sit down with you and give you a true advice, right? It's working with good lenders who can really give you true advice, right? So for my friends out there in the world, right, make sure now, if your agent doesn't understand real estate investing and doesn't real estate, real estate finance, if you still love them, that's fine. You can still work with them, but have them go introduce you to someone in their office who has 20 units, in town, who really understands this game really well. And then why don't you guys all sit down together, right? So it's super important that you find a local mentor, and they're everywhere, all over the country. They love meeting and helping other people also. So if you found one and they're an a-hole, you just go find the next one. There's plenty of them to be found, and they would love to just show you the ropes and teach you everything they need to know. Right. So
It's so true. You don't got to do it on your own.
No, and you shouldn't. Don't do that at all, because it's pretty risky. But once you understand it once or twice with someone else, the game is over. Now, my favorite education mentor in real estate investing, as Avi knows really well, is Bruce Norris of thenorrisgroup.com, right? I listen religiously to the Norris Group. It's TNG radio show. It's a podcast. Find it on YouTube. Find it on any podcast that you're on. I've been listening to that podcast. It's a 20-minute podcast every single Friday. I've listened to it since 2007. Almost every single one, every single week since 2007. Jeez. Okay. They just covered financial tactics for all of us and Avi, you need to do this. I need to do it too. So before our next coaching call, we both need to jump in there. They did what's called their financial tactics brunch. And right now in California, if you are a real estate investor, you do need to be paying attention to taxes, 1031 exchange, what's kind of the latest things coming down. So we do need to be paying attention to the smartest and brightest in these categories. So Avi, you and I, we need to watch those videos for free on the YouTube channel, so we can get up to speed on the latest things on 1031 exchange, what's going on with taxes, how to hold these assets so that we are net positive at the end of the year, and we could hold on to these things for a long term so that we can create massive wealth. So that's like a good example, right? Just jump on the free content, right? I am planning on interviewing Andy Dane Carter on his show. He's a great investor locally in Southern California, right? There's so many great places, Bigger Pockets is amazing. There's so many ways to slice the pie. You guys just need to know your numbers, figure out the money, find your local dude, meet with them, go through what your options are and get in the game. Let's roll.
Yep. And basically, to add on that, I'd be like, for me, I'd like, find your Patrick Ferry. I started with Graham Stephan. I started with Bigger Pockets, but having you, who had my back the whole time, is the game changer. And now I'm trying to look and do that with as many people, both in my market and out of my market, and then refer them to the people in our network that we know that can help them locally. Like, find an actual mentor you can step down with face-to-face, because Graham Stephan probably doesn't have the time for you. And just so people know too, Patrick has it's not like he's like, you said I would be in a completely different financial situation. Like, Patrick is balling out. He's just built a sweet pool in his backyard and like in the best neighborhood in San Diego. So you're doing just fine for yourself. But yeah, if you could have gotten back and bought all of Costa Mesa, I bet I would probably just be chilling on your private jet right now, which I wouldn't complain about.
Right. Exactly. It's just a different level, right? But or more relaxed in my life, right? Kind of what everybody wants. In your 20s, you all want to have that, like, hey, imagine if, right now, if I would have bought that, duplex or triplex or fourplex 20 years ago in Costa Mesa, my net worth would be probably 2 million more than what it is today. So that's a good thing, right? But my positive cash flow on that thing would probably be anywhere between 5 to probably 7.5, so 5,000 to 7,500 a month. So if I really look back, having that 5,000 to $7,500 a month coming in with, like, that's being conservative. That's amazing, right? So the game is on, guys. Learn your numbers, find your mentor, meet with Avi. And then if you're a real estate agent, make sure you come to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to build up my subscribers. So just Google Coach Patrick Ferry and you'll find me, right? Send some love.
Patrick's YouTube link in the description. Patrick, so appreciate you, dude. I'm glad I'm not homeless, and I'm glad I met you so I can keep crushing it.
See you, brother. Buddy. I got to roll.
Bye.